Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. Welcome in the class. As you know, today we are going to discuss why conduct a literature review. Why conduct a literature review? It is chapter 3, and the book is Political Science Research Methods, 8th edition, and its authors are three: Janet Butler Johnson, H.T. Reynolds, Jason D. Mykoff. They are the three authors of this book. They belong to University of Delaware. So it is a very good book. Why conduct a literature review? Why do we need to review the literature when we conduct research? Before any research project, we need to conduct a literature review. We need to review the relevant literature. But why? We need to understand why we need to review the literature. So the authors say most research topics start out too broad. Most topics are too broad. They are very broad. They are not manageable at first. If a research topic is too broad, it cannot be uh, managed properly. It would be almost impossible to write something new on international terrorism. For example, if your topic is international terrorism, it is very broad. It is very broad. Or even just the causes of terrorism in the Middle East. Just the causes of terrorism in the Middle East. Look, again, this is a very broad topic. You would need to know a lot about the subject first. So, before starting research on any topic, the researcher needs to know the topic appropriately. So you need to study the topic thoroughly. So good research involves reviewing previous work on the topic. So if you review the previous research on your topic, you can make a good topic. A good topic is not too broad and it is not too narrow. A good topic should not be too narrow. A good topic should not be too broad. So literature review helps you as a researcher. Literature review helps you in having a proper topic, a good topic. This review helps you sharpen your research question. Again, if you have a good research question, your research will be convenient, it will be easy, it will be smooth, there will be less problems. But if your research question is not good, then you will have more problems. Your research project may not become successful. So in order to have a good research question, you need to review the literature. Reviewing the literature helps you as a researcher to come up with a good research question. There are many reasons to do a literature review. Let's go through them one by one. Why do we need to review the literature when we start a research project? There are many reasons. First, you want to see what has and what has not been investigated. You need to know what has already been researched, okay, and what has not been researched. So then you choose your topic. It helps us know what has to be investigated further. Second, you want to develop general explanations. As a researcher, you want to develop general explanations for observed variations. Observed variations, there are variations in phenomena, variation in things. These variations could be in a behavior, these variations could be in a phenomenon. Third reason for conducting a literature review, you want to identify potential relationships between concepts. As a researcher, you want to identify potential relationships between variables, between concepts. Concepts are variables. And you want to identify researchable hypotheses. We have already studied hypotheses. You want to identify hypotheses which are researchable, on which you can conduct research. Fourth reason for literature review, you learn how others have defined key concepts. In a research project, you define your variables, you define your research concepts. When you review the literature, you study research conducted by others, you understand how to define your concepts. You get the definitions from there. It helps us. You also learn how they have measured them, how to measure the concepts, how to measure the variables. It is also explained in other research projects, other research reports, other literature. Fifth, you can identify data sources that other researchers used. You can identify data sources that other researchers used. So data sources, we need to know where do we can get data from, sources of data. So when we review the literature, we understand, we know what are the sources of data. Sixth, you can develop alternative research designs. You can develop alternative research designs. There can be many research designs for one topic. For one topic, you can have many different designs. If you review the literature, it helps you decide which design suits best to your topic, to your research project. Seventh, you discover how your project relates to the work of others. Seventh reason to conduct a literature review, you discover how your project relates to the work of others. When we say research project, what does it include? Research project includes your thesis, it includes your research assignments that you write for different courses, you submit to your teachers. They are your research projects. Your thesis is a research project. A journal article, a research article is a research project. On whatever topic you conduct research, that is your research project. So these things helps in your projects. So let's look at some of these reasons more closely. Let us have a close look at these reasons. Often, a new researcher only has a general interest in a topic. Often, a new researcher only has a general interest in a topic. For example, you might be interested in terrorism, you might be interested in democracy, you might be interested in women empowerment, you might be interested in human rights, in workers' rights, in labor rights. Okay? Are the effects of campaign advertisement, are public opinion and international relations, but you have not yet formulated a specific research question. A literature review can help you sharpen your topic. It shows you what research questions others have asked. Other research projects, they mention their research question, and you get clues from those questions what question you can have for your research. Sometimes you start with a very specific research question. Sometimes you start with a very specific, very clear research question. The literature review will show you that your specific question is one of many. So when you review the literature, you read similar questions in the literature. Those many questions try to answer a more general research question. This more general question is a proper research topic. The very specific question is too narrow. Okay, very specific question here means which is too narrow, which is not suitable for a research project. If a topic is too narrow, it will not be sufficient, it will not be enough. Okay, for example, if your topic is the number of students and teachers in Department of Political Science, is it a good topic? The total number of students and teachers in the Department of Political Science, is it a good topic for research? No, it is not good. It is very narrow. There are around 400, 500 students and 5 to 15 faculty members. That's it. So it is not a research project. So a topic should not be too broad. A topic should not be too narrow. It has to be medium. It would not be enough to support a whole research paper. This narrow topic will not be enough to support a whole research paper. After reading published work in an area, you may find something. You might decide that previous reports do not answer the question well. So you can design a research project to answer an old question in a new way. So it is another option. You can take an old question, but you research it in a new way. Your research design is different. It is also doable. Sometimes you may replicate a study. Someone conducted a study and you repeat it. Why do you repeat it? You want to see whether the procedure adopted was correct or not. It is called replication. You replicate a research study. Replication means you confirm or challenge a hypothesis. So you can challenge the previous research by replication, or you can confirm its previous research by replication, by repeating it. Or you might expand our understanding of a concept. Replication is one of the cornerstones of scientific work. Replication is one of the cornerstones, important things in scientific research, scientific work. You test the same hypothesis in different ways. In replication, what do we do? We test the same hypothesis in different ways. It is called replication. Or you confirm the results from previous research using the same data and methods. You can confirm the previous research. For this, you use the same data and you use the same methods. This increases our confidence that the results are correct. If a project has been conducted more than once and again the results are same, it increases our confidence in those results, in those findings. Replication can also help build consensus. Consensus means if all agree. If all concerned people agree on one point, it is consensus, agreement. So replication can also help us build consensus on findings, consensus on certain piece of knowledge. Or it can identify topics that need more work. Replication can identify topics that need more research, more work. Other times, research begins with a hypothesis. Or you might want to develop an explanation for a relationship that has already been observed. Here, a literature review can help you. It may reveal reports of similar observations made by others. Literature review may reveal reports of similar observations made by other researchers. It may also help you develop general explanations for the relationship between variables, relationship between concepts, between variables. You do this by identifying theories that explain the phenomenon of interest. Your research will be more valuable if you can provide a general explanation. General explanation means your explanation applies to all the concerned items, all the relevant items. It is called generalization, general explanation, not just a report of empirical verification of a relationship. In addition to seeking theories that support your hypothesis, you should be alert. You should be alert to while seeking theories that support your hypothesis. Look for competing hypotheses. Look for alternative hypotheses too. You may start with a simple hypothesis about two variables. You may start with a simple hypothesis about two variables, but it is uncommon for one political phenomenon to be related to just one other factor. Although you may conduct research on two variables, but usually many variables are involved in a phenomenon. Many variables are involved in a phenomenon. For example, unemployment. Can you tell me what are the factors behind unemployment? Why people stay unemployed? One reason may be uneducated. If people are uneducated, they may be unemployed. It may be one reason. Lack of skills, yes. If people are unskilled, they may be unemployed. Yes, more. If there are no appropriate institutions to facilitate employment, it may be another factor, another variable. If there is lack of investment, if people are not investing, they are not establishing industries, so jobs are not being created, it is another factor. Okay, lack of foreign investment is not coming as required, it may also explain unemployment. So there can be many variables involved in one relationship, one phenomenon, but the problem is we usually take two variables so that we manage them easily, conveniently. If we take more and more variables, the research project will become too complex and too difficult to manage. Getting the point? But it is uncommon for one political phenomenon to be related to just one other factor. So it is important to look for other possible causes or correlates of the dependent variable. Your data collection should include measurement of these other relevant variables. Then in later data analysis, you can rule out competing explanations, or you can at least show the nature of the relationship between your original variables more clearly. With this,